Hello, I don't know you, and you don't know me, but come here. I need to have a conversation with you, and we need to talk for a bit. Deep breath. Now, if you haven't looked at the title of this video, don't. Not yet. I don't know what I named it, but I assume something that would give away what I've got going on behind me. I know that I am no expert in any one field, but like any normal person, I'm gonna pick something and stick to it because experts aren't built overnight. They're developed. And so I've picked something and I've stuck to it. Now, this particular something that I've decided to fixate on and just become obsessed with is nothing new. This obsession is not new to me. This is something that I have been consuming content of for a very long time, since I was about 8 years old. That's when the first game came out. Now, we're gonna have to go through this. I'm gonna stand on this side actually. I don't know how well you can see this. My handwriting is also very loop-de-loop. So up here in green, it's how many movies they have. 2 movies. In red, there are the games, which is 20. That feels really low, but I counted twice. And I came up with 20 twice. So we're rolling with 20 for right now. The number of books is specific to like novels. Books is specific to novels. 29. The reason I'm clarifying that is because there are comics, and there are 23 individual issues, for a grand total of 74 different individual pieces of content. Of these, I have only consumed not even all 20 of the games. I've seen neither movie. One is a short film, not really a movie, haven't seen it. I've read none of the books, and I didn't even know there were comics. My first idea of doing this was I was going to have my entire whiteboard filled with the timeline of what was going to happen. But I don't have space for 74 individual pieces to go on this whiteboard and you still be able to read it. And your legibility is somewhat important to me. So what I'm mainly going to use this board for is different time eras. I've broken it down into little segments, and that's what we'll use the whiteboard for. If you haven't guessed, or if you haven't looked at the title yet, what we're going to be talking about is the Assassin's Creed series. Now, I did find on Reddit there is a photo of somebody put together just a compilation of all of the different types of content, all the games, some of the books, some of the comics, but not everything. There does not seem to be an actual timeline for everything. And to be completely honest with you, some of these things do not have any information on. Mainly it was the comics. The comics were the hardest thing to research out of everything that I have on here. And that is because anytime I would do any research and I was looking for any information to what these comics were about, there's at least 3 or 4 of them where I just had to put, this dude is the guy that's in it. Because I don't have anything other than the title and the main character of that comic. Now, my big goal with this is just a timeline video of me putting all 74 of these individual pieces of content, there goes my eraser, in chronological order. Kind of. A lot of these have the flashbacks and flash forwards. This is just for like the main game content or the main like the main content. If they are in the future but they're using an animus, wherever they're going in the animus is the main content. And so that's what the timeline is based off of, the main content. Eventually, what I would like to do is a giant lore video of everything in chronological order. That is going to be difficult as not every game has animus portions anymore, which I think is... I have a lot of opinions. I think they should bring them back because not everything has been closed up properly. Not every loose end has been tied up. But what this video that you're watching now is just a timeline. It's a grand, overarching, surface level look into everything. And when I mean everything, I mean all 74 everythings. In chronological order for whatever is the majority of their content. That being said, there's definitely going to be stuff I've missed, and there are some things that are generally considered non-canon, and we will face that when we get there. However, I've decided that everything's canon because no, who decided it wasn't canon? Who's done this? No one. I checked. I looked. The longest video I could find on all of this was an hour and a half. Hi, editing Carly here. Using my front-facing camera, so it's backwards. One of the things I wanted to clarify at this part of the video where I said I looked and I couldn't find anything that wasn't longer than an hour and a half, I meant specifically I was looking for like a deep dive lore video covering the entire lore of Assassin's Creed, and that's what I couldn't find. I did find a lore video that was an hour and a half, but that was concerning just like a very rough, not very deep dive into, basically it was just a get you caught up before Shadows came out video that was released about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. And that video just had it was just going over, hey, here's the kind of overarching story for when you go into Shadows. You really don't need to watch it to play Shadows because there is no out of Animus segments, and you are just following the stories of the characters who are present in Shadows. That was all. An hour and a half. That's not nearly enough. Five Nights at Freddy's has half of this, and they have a 24-hour video. There is no reason I could not find a video longer than an hour and a half when I wanted to just sit back, relax, and listen to the content of my choosing. So this is mainly for me. I'm doing this mainly for myself. But if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comments. If there's stuff you want me to know, leave it in the comments. We'll go through each individual thing as we get there. Some of these are paired up and buddy-buddied. We'll get there when we get there. But eventually the way I want to do it is big timeline video, and then each individual thing has its own video as necessary. I will probably keep some of the series together. Some of the series together. Like the book series, there's 3 trilogies, a duology, and a series that's not finished. But again, we'll get there when we get there. And then big overarching, big lore video. How's that sound? Sound good to everybody? We ready to go? We ready to start? I think we're ready to start. We'll see if I actually know what I'm talking about. Probably not. Okay, so I have my notes over there. So I'm going to be going back and forth because I put all of these on little index cards because I needed to put, I have 74 index cards that are already pre-organized in a certain order. So part 1 is going to be 450 BC to 1080. Now that seems like a big time range. I promise you it is not. We are going to get very nuanced very quickly, but this is one of our shorter sections. So the first thing to come up is the Odyssey novel. In case you're wondering what that looks like, ooh, Odyssey novel. I already bought this one, so this is going to be the next video. As soon as I finish this one, I'm starting to read this. So the Odyssey novel, written by Gordon Doherty. When I do the actual video, I'll figure out how to pronounce this person's name because I don't want to be disrespectful to them. They wrote Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the book Odyssey follows Cassandra. So in the Odyssey game, you can either play as either sibling Alexios or Cassandra. The book follows just Cassandra. I don't know how that differs from the game, which is why I want to read the novel first and then do the game. I'm not sure if I'm going to do all the novels first or do the game. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I know this is first. That's all I got for you. The Odyssey book follows Cassandra as she goes to kill... Like, there's some misunderstanding, and she's given a chance to go back to Sparta if she kills a general. For the hidden ones. She kills a Templar general. That's kind of all we have for the Odyssey, and it's the only one I actually have something I can hold for. That's not true. But I do own the Odyssey book. I have never played the game, so that is your warning, if you will. And the reason that this is 450 BC, is because the book starts before Cassandra gets kicked out of Sparta. So she's still a child when the book starts. So that's my other thing. Up next at 431 BC, which, if you don't know this, you count down to 0 and then back up. So, if you don't know that, now you do. That's why this number is smaller. So, 431 BC is the Odyssey game, and that follows Alexios or Cassandra in killing the Wolf of Sparta. My other note I have here on my little index card is that the operator, or the person who is in the Animus at this time, is Layla Hassan. I know almost nothing about Layla Hassan's arc because I haven't played Odyssey. I've played a little bit of Origins. I've not finished Origins. And I've played Valhalla. So like, that's the best offer I have for you. Like I said, I'm no expert in this, but I grew up playing Assassin's Creed and I love it. And then this became like a thing where I'm like, oh, I want to get back into it. And here we are. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information other than these guys want to kill this dude. When I go to play it, I don't know if I'll have any gameplay footage. I doubt that would be interesting for anybody to watch. I might. But I will probably play as Cassandra first to see if there's any differences between the game and the book. There has to be. And then I will play again as Alexios, to see if there's any like storyline differences for how Alexios handles the thing versus Cassandra. So we'll see. It's going to be a big whole thing. After that, we're going to go right to 70 BC, and that is going to be our next novel, Assassin's Creed Origins Desert Oath. And Assassin's Creed Origins Desert Oath follows Bayek of Siwa and his life before Origins. So his childhood, it says his early life before Origins, and how he became, I think it's a mage. I played Origins, I never finished it. My bad, guys. So that is 70 BC, that is the Desert Oath novel. Getting right back in, we're at 47 BC, and that is our next game, Origins. So that is Bayek of Siwa seeking revenge for his son's murder. Kind of wish I just like taped them up here, but I don't have any tape. That would have been fun. Next time. I think it would be better. Actually, hold on. I have to have tape somewhere. Okay, I don't have that many magnets, and I have no tape. But I have these magnets. Everyone say hi to Riolu. Okay. Everything's falling. So, 450 BC up top, Odyssey novel, follows Cassandra, and there's the game at 431. 47 BC's Origins. No. Oh my goodness. Nobody look. 70 BC is the Desert Oath novel, followed by Origin. I think I'm just going to do them in sets of 4. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So we have 2 games and 2 novels so far. So professional. So after that, we have our first thing that's going to be after 0. So this is 259 AD. So it's Assassin's Creed 2 Aquilus, and that is a comic. And that is Desmond as Aquilus, who is a Roman. Now this is clearly volume 2. And we're just going to keep going down like that. This is clearly volume 2. Volume 1 just follows Desmond, so it's nowhere near here. Volume 2 is just focused on Aquilus, and I could find next to no information on what that meant, other than it was him as Aquilus in the Roman times. That's all I had. Up next, also in 259, is Assassin's Creed 3, A Scepter, a comic, which is Jonathan Hawk as the Scepter, who's also a Roman. It's their sides of the same story. So a lot of the comics that we're going to be talking about either follow Jonathan Hawk or Desmond Miles. If they don't, I will let you know. These ones do. And that's all the information I have. I will say when it came to this part of the comic research, it was very bare bones. I was not that into it. I had just discovered that I didn't know there were comics, and I had to redo my entire timeline. So my heart was not in it. Up next, we're going into broad 9th century. This next novel is said to have taken place in the mid-9th century, so sometime between 800 and 899. Big jump, I know, but we're going to go ahead and get this one just kind of out there, do the big overarching one. And until I read the novel, I won't know where it actually goes. Like with any of these things, until I'm actually in the novels, the comics, or whatever, until I actually consume that content, my timeline that I have here is flexible to change. These are literally on index cards. What I say is not written in stone. But for the overarching 800s to 899 is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Gurmund Saga. And that follows Gurmund Hellhide proving himself. That's all I have. you might be wondering, we're already going to Valhalla. Yeah, because this is an overarching one. But we're going to get into these next ones, which happens at 824, is Daughter of No One. So I am in love with the name Assassin's Creed Origins Daughter of, or Assassin's Creed Mirage Daughter of No One. Absolutely in love with the name. And I think it's just a beautiful callback. For those of you who don't know, the very first Assassin's Creed game ever released, the very first one I ever played, was Assassin's Creed, the main title. And the main character in Assassin's Creed, the original, is Altair ibn Alahad. And Altair ibn Alahad is a play on words. Altair or Altair, it means the bird or a bird. Ibn is son, La Ahad is no one. So Altair's name is Son of No One. So this is a fun play on words, fun callback to Daughter of No One. Daughter of No One follows a thief who does a one last job type thing for the Hidden Ones. And I believe, if I remember correctly, this takes place in Cairo. Honestly, sounds really interesting. I don't have the name. There's a big gap where I was supposed to go back and put the name of the main character. I don't remember the name, and I didn't write it, so I am sorry. So, there it is. Sounds really interesting as a story. I am excited to read it. It is not the story I'm most excited to read, and we'll get there when we get there because I'm not going to shut up about it, but it is coming up, don't worry. So after Daughter of No One, we have our next game, which is an 861. It's Assassin's Creed Mirage. I've not played Assassin's Creed Mirage. I do have it. I own Assassin's Creed Mirage. I haven't played it yet. I'm very excited because I do speak Arabic. So that's your fun fact. And I'm very excited to see how this goes. If you don't know, in the original Assassin's Creed, they don't speak Arabic. They speak Persian, which is completely different, especially since it should have been set place in Lebanon, which speaks Arabic. But this one, Mirage, takes place in Baghdad during the golden era of Baghdad, and it should be in Arabic, so I'm very excited for that. We'll see if I actually know what I'm talking about. Probably not. But it follows Basim, a thief, who goes from thief to hidden one. And then I just put Scato and Loki. For funsies, as we know. After Mirage, now this one technically shouldn't be here. It's 862 Valhalla. So technically shouldn't be here, but the reason Valhalla is coming first before this next one is because in 862, Ivor was a child. And I don't remember how old the child is. But when you start the game, it's 862, and Valhalla is Ivor taking on the world. It does not matter if you play as a male Ivor or a female Ivor. It does not matter as far as I know. If I don't think the story changes at all. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because our next novel is in 867, The Golden City, and it is Basim helping to stop the assassination of an emperor's son with Hytham, and it is a bridge game. It's a bridge book between the games of Mirage and Valhalla. So in theory, it should go before Valhalla. However, Eivor is a child, and therefore that's why that one takes place first. Do we get what I'm trying to say? Golden City is supposed to bridge between Valhalla and Mirage, but it comes after because Eivor wasn't old enough yet. Cool, cool. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. I don't know how it's going to go. So in 870, it is Assassin's Creed The Silk Road. It is a choose-your-own-adventure novel, and you play as Osul. He receives a letter from Basim to go to the Levant and help with the Silk Road. That is all I have. I also know it's a choose-your-own-adventure. Do I know how I'm going to do that yet? No, I don't. I don't think I need to yet. It's there. It can wait. I've never read a choose-your-own-adventure book before, so that's going to be interesting for me. And I think the canon of that novel is whatever I do, because I wouldn't want to spoil everything for everyone. I'd rather people go play it on themselves, like go play it on their own with the book. This is a choose your own adventure. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. 878 CE. Sword of the White Horse. Assassin's Creed Valhalla Sword of the White Horse is the one I'm most excited for. And if I'm just going to pick a random order, I'm doing this one next. Sword of the White Horse follows Nima, who is a witch warrior who invades the Hidden Ones because she doesn't trust them. That's the entire story. It is a witch who's like, I don't trust these people who call themselves the Hidden Ones. That's sketchy. I'm just gonna sneak in and invade and see what's happening, see what's up. That I find that as a story concept very interesting, so I'm very interested in reading that. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, this one, I think that's supposed to say 6. It looks like an 8. Here's my very bad handwriting. I think that's supposed to be 861, and I thought it said 881. Yeah, because this is Assassin's Creed Valhalla Journey to the North. And Assassin's Creed Valhalla Journey to the North is Hytham's journal that logs his journey to get to Ravensthorpe, where Ivor is. Sorry, there was a fuzz. Where Ivor is, and then his log of the events of Valhalla. So that definitely should have been sooner. So, like I said, my timeline's not perfect, not at all. Our big, beautiful. Here's why. The 10th century is all I've got. So that's anywhere from 900 to 1000. Wraps up our big 1000. Assassin's Creed Fate of the Gods. That's not what it's called. It's just called okay. It's called Fate of the Gods. It's a novel, and it is book 3 of the Last Descendants series. Now, Last Descendants is a trilogy, and it involves teenagers fighting Templars and going into Animuses to fight Templars. There's technically 4 books concerning this, but The Last Descendants is we'll get there when we get there. So this is book 3 of The Last Descendants, which is teens versus Templars in Scandinavia. The whole overarching story plot, from my understanding of The Last Descendants, is it's a group of teens trying to prove that one of their deceased fathers is not a criminal, and trying to prove that he's innocent of a crime, does not specify which crime, and so it's a bunch of teens trying to prove this one person's innocence. And they're fighting Templars and stealing Animuses, and that's all I have for you. That also sounds interesting. I think a lot of these stories sound really interesting. And that right there is going to wrap up part 1 of our Assassin's Creed timeline. Invasion by King England I of England. Okay, now we're going to jump and we're going to skip straight to part 2, which is the 1100s to 1300s. As far as I am aware, as of right now, there is nothing in 1000 to 1999. Wait, no, that's not what I meant. There's, from what I understand, there's nothing from 1000 to 1099. Yeah, sorry, but from the 1100s to 1300s is our next timeline. So let's get right into it. We're starting off strong with our next novel. That is going to be Assassin's Creed: The Secret Crusade, and that is going to follow Altair's early life and the storyline of Assassin's Creed, the original game, and Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. Now, I hear you. Someone's asking, and it's okay. I asked it too. What is Assassin's Creed Bloodlines? I'm so glad you asked. We'll get there after this. Because up next we have, and that's in 1190, my bad. Because it has his early life. I understand that he wasn't one. That's the year I got. Because Assassin's Creed, the original game, takes place in 1191. And that follows Altair ibn Lahad in Maysaf fighting the Templars. That is essentially the first game. The first game, Altair fights with the Templars. He's very egotistical. It burns him, and he has to build himself back up. There is some out of Animus moments. I don't remember them off the top of my head. I have beat Assassin's Creed, the first one. It's been so long, I really don't remember a lot. So it is a game I am excited to replay. Now up next is Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. It's 1191 to 1193. It is a game. It's a sequel to Assassin's Creed, the original game, happening in Cyprus. So yeah, happens in Cyprus, which is off the coast of Lebanon a little ways. And Altair goes there to fight the Templars, and that's where he meets Maria, who is his wife. And in the novel, it covers Bloodlines, which is where Altair meets his wife Maria and all that fun stuff. Then we're jumping straight into 1257. These next 3 comics I know next to nothing about. It's Numa al-Hasmin? Numa al... Yeah, Hasmin. Has to be Hasmin. And the Egyptian Brotherhood. That's Assassin's Creed 4, Hawk. Followed by Assassin's Creed Volume 5, Al-Kakar. El-Kakar. That is not... I'm interested to see what that's supposed to mean. El is not a preposition in Arabic that I'm aware of. It's usually la. I guess al, but not el. But we'll see. Just all I have is that it's a continuation. And the third in the Numa trilogy is Numa versus Layla. In what regards, I don't know. I'm not sure. I really couldn't find any other information other than Numa had to fight with Layla over like a piece of Eden. That's a big thing that they do, is they're always fighting over pieces of Eden. And each piece is like, it's different. Which one are they fighting over in this comic? I don't remember. I definitely read the Wikipedia page, and the Goodreads page, and the Amazon store page, and I do not remember. Yikes. However, and that happens on 1257, and then these ones don't have years associated, it just comes after. So I'm assuming it's 1257, 1258, 1259, which is fine because also in 1259 is our next novel. It's Tomb of Khan. It's a novel, it's Last Descendants Book 2, and it follows the Teens versus Templars and the Mongol invasion of China. Oh, no. The Mongol conquest of China, not their invasion, their conquest of China. I don't know why they're putting the teenagers against grown men. I cannot imagine what this book trilogy is about. That there are children fighting grown men. Every time I think about it, I lean more towards doing the series. And this trilogy, because it's one of the first trilogies that we have here, I guess if you want to count the comics, I'd probably be doing the overarching story as one video. But these trilogies are going to have to be done together because there is present day and then there's past. So I'm not sure I'm going to do that yet. We're just going to all have to figure it out together. Every time I see The Last Descendants, I've been doing a lot of research, I can't wrap my mind around how these teenagers are fighting grown men. Like, I can, but what are you doing in the Mongol conquest of China? This just makes me think of the Magic Tree House. Do y'all remember the Magic Tree House? Have y'all read the Magic Tree House? That's how I feel, and I really kind of want to read it to see if it's the way I'm imagining it to be. And then if it's not that, I'm probably going to be disappointed, but that's neither here nor there, nor the book's fault. So we're just going to move right along into 1296. And this is the Highland Children. We're moving straight into our second trilogy, the Fragment Trilogy. The Highland Children is book 2, and you're in Scotland during its invasion by King Edward I of England. What is the Highland Children about? Good question. You're in Scotland during its invasion by King England I of England. I'm not the best researcher, and I also really didn't want to spoil the books because I plan on reading them all anyway. This is a baseline time. This is just an overarching, very bare bones timeline, and I understand that. And that's the end of part 2. A little bit shorter than part 1, but worth it. The movie novelization is a novelization of the movie. Alright, we're moving straight into part 3. We are big, we are bold, we are dramatic, and this is just the 1400s. This entire section is just the 1400s, and we're going to be starting off strong with 1429 being it's just called Heresy. And this follows Templar Simon Hathaway, who relives This follows Templar Simon Hathaway while he relives his ancestor, that's what I'm looking for, Gabriel Laxart, during the 100 Years' War fighting with Joan of Arc. Now, a few moments ago, I said The Last Descendants was a trilogy that technically had 4 books. This is what I meant. Heresy follows the point of view of the main Templar they're fighting, and they've never said that he was a teenager. This is a grown man fighting a teenager, a group of teenagers. Very scary. I wouldn't fight a group of teenagers, but he fights a group of teenagers. This is his point of view. This is a book that goes with that trilogy, but technically isn't a part of the trilogy. And it's during the 100 Years' War, and he fights with or alongside of Joan of Arc. So I'm very interested in seeing how that plays into it, and that's just another reason to read the Last Descendants trilogy. Following shortly after, in 1476, is Assassin's Creed 2. So the Assassin's Creed 2 is the first Ezio Auditore game, and this is Ezio becoming an assassin and fighting the Pope. That is the majority of what happens in Assassin's Creed 2. Big overarching story. I have played Assassin's Creed 2. I have finished the game of Assassin's Creed 2. In Assassin's Creed 2, you are looking for the Apple of Eden. But before that, you were a baby. You're a little baby Ezio. This timeline is not for him being a baby, even though you're a baby at the start of the game. I'm pretty sure I have this fixed to where he is an adult. I think he's like 25, 22, somewhere in his early 20s at the start of the game. And it is Ezio being a rambunctious, he might be younger, because I think he's being a rambunctious teen or young man, starting street fights, and then his entire family gets murked with the exception of his sisters, and himself, obviously. And so he has to move in with his Uncle Mario, and one of the greatest cameos. I don't care, it makes me laugh every time his uncle comes in and goes, "Oh, it's me, Mario." And he does that. He does it just like that. It's an Italian named Mario. It's funny. I laugh at it every time. I think it's a great joke. I think the people who put that joke in there have my eternal grace and blessing. I have played this game. I did not mention this. I own Assassin's Creed the original already. I also own Assassin's Creed 2. Like, I have it in-house already. And I think the key note from Assassin's Creed 2 is that Ezio fought the Pope. That's like the big thing I wanted to point out. Also in 1476 is Assassin's Creed Renaissance. Technically the first Assassin's Creed novel ever written. Assassin's Creed Renaissance follows the story of Assassin's Creed 2. Okay, but changes dialogues and appearances. So some dialogue is slightly changed, some people's appearance are changed. And the big thing here is Assassin's Creed Renaissance was written before they knew they were going to do an Ezio trilogy. They didn't know they were going to do an Ezio trilogy. And so Assassin's Creed Renaissance kind of took it upon themselves to kind of write what they thought would happen, to take that creative freedom and creative liberty. And I want you to know that. And I'm going to tell you that people do not consider this book non-canon. That's important. Do we hear me? Assassin's Creed Renaissance changes the appearance and dialogue and is basically almost an alternate storytelling of events of what happened in Assassin's Creed 2 and a little bit after. And people do not consider it not canon. You might be wondering, why are we putting a stick on that? We will get there when we get there. But I want you to remember that. We're having that conversation now. We're starting it now. We'll finish it later. Put it on pause. Because we're going to move right into 1491, Assassin's Creed Discovery, which is a game. Alright, during his search for the apple, Ezio has to put it on pause. Ezio has to put it on pause because he needs to go to Spain. He needs to go to Spain because he needs to rebuild the Brotherhood in Spain. He's fighting the Inquisition? Yeah, he's fighting the Spanish Inquisition. So, Assassin's Creed Discovery is Ezio versus the Spanish Inquisition. That sounds familiar to you? It's going to. Because we're going right into our first movie. And this is Assassin's Creed the movie. I've never seen the movie, by the way. Also in 1492, a year after, it's Callum in Spain during the Spanish Inquisition. So this is another Assassins versus the Spanish Inquisition. So I will say, I am glad to know that that story idea didn't just come out of nowhere. This book came first, I'm pretty sure. And then they just did, oh, we're not going to do Ezio during the Spanish Inquisition, which I think probably would have been killer. But we'll make up this dude and we'll do this dude during the Spanish Inquisition. Also, pretty fair. Pretty fair. Also, with that, you'll never believe, 1492 is the Assassin's Creed movie novelization. The movie novelization is a novelization of the movie, which is Callum, the Assassins versus the Spanish Inquisition, but the novel also includes an anthology of other characters from the movie. So it has some of their stories in it as well. Do I know them? No. I do not. I do not know who's in the anthology. We're just gonna have to get there together as a team when we get there. And that is the entirety of the 1400s. I know when that is. I know they killed him. Now, if you'll remember, a lot of Ezio stuff happened in the early 90s, 1290s, 1490s, goodness. We're moving right into part 4, the 1500s, starting up with 1503 to 1507 is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the novel, which takes place during the time skip between Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood to kind of fill in the blank of what was going on. And this one is a more faithful adaptation to the game itself. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the game takes place in 1500 to 1507. There's a time skip in the middle of the game. I probably should have switched those two around, but here we are. And like I said, the novel takes place during the time skip that's in the game. The game itself is Ezio in Rome. Ezio in Rome, still fighting the same people he was fighting. This one is my favorite of the Ezio trilogy because I'm almost certain this is the one where you get to play. You have a mission where you are a minstrel and you get to follow people around and annoy them. That is my favorite. I have beaten this game. I've owned Brotherhood. I've beaten it. I'm pretty sure Brotherhood is the one where you can do that. So if it is, then because I know you can't do it in the first one, and I'm pretty sure Ezio wasn't gray yet, so therefore it had to have been Brotherhood, and I'm pretty sure Brotherhood is my favorite game for that reason. Up next, in 1511 to 1512, is Assassin's Creed Revelations, the novel, and that takes place after the game. Well, why does this come first? Everyone hold on. I think I've got my things mixed up. That takes place after we're doing Assassin's Creed fixing it on set. 1511 to 1512, Assassin's Creed Revelations, the game, is Ezio in Constantinople. I have played Assassin's Creed Revelations. He's an old man. Love him. And you do get, there is a part where you are reliving part of Altair's memories with Maria. From what I remember, it has been forever since I've played these games. It's Ezio in Constantinople. Now, for Assassin's Creed Revelation, the novel, which takes place after the game, and includes a novelization of Assassin's Creed Embers. Now, I hear you. What is Assassin's Creed Embers? It is our next technically movie. Remember how I said in the beginning there's 2 movies? This is the other one. It's more of a short film, but I put it in the movie category because I can, as this is my list and not yours. And Assassin's Creed Ember, the movie, is an Ezio handoff to Xiao Jun. Jun? Xiao Jun. Jun. Xiao Jun. That's what we're sticking with. Xiao Jun is the Chinese assassin from Assassin's Creed Chronicles. So this is her coming to Ezio saying, hey, I really need help. I need to rebuild the Brotherhood in China. I need to rebuild China as a whole. And this is Ezio kind of trains her, teaches her, sends his family away, teaches her, and then sends her off. That being said, our next thing in 1526 is Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, the game. Which, if you don't know the Chronicles series, it is 3 games, 2D scrollers. I have played a little bit of Chronicles. I have not beat Chronicles. I do own it. I own all 3, technically. But I have not beaten them. And this is Xiao Jun fixing China. Now, do you remember how I said earlier? Put a pin in it because we're going to pause this conversation. This is me playing the conversation again. Please call back to probably, I don't know how many seconds or minutes ago it was for you. For me, it felt like 30 seconds ago, but I know it was actually a lot longer than that. Actually, it couldn't have been. It was in the Ezio section, so like a few minutes ago. Pull it back. Where I said, hey, this is not a faithful adaptation. It's an alternate storytelling, but it's considered canon. That's relevant right now. Bring it back. Because our next novel that we're going to talk about is apparently considered not canon. And I do want to talk about it. So it is The Ming Storm. There's 2 books in this series, in the series of Ming Storm, with the 3rd on the way. But it is widely considered not canon because it is an alternate retelling of Xiao Jun. I am going to say who said that, who considers it not canon, because it's an alternate retelling, but we are considering another alternate retelling of Ezio to be canon. So That's why I said in my list, until we do a big deep dive video, which I do want to work on, as far as I'm concerned, everything's canon, because this to me doesn't seem fair. At all. So, yeah, this is book 1 out of 3, usually considered not canon because it's an alternate retelling of Assassin's Creed China with Xiao Jun versus the 8 Tigers. That is the name of their Templar group. That's fucking sick, by the way. Book 2, called The Desert Threat, sometime after the first book, because that's all I got for you, is Xiao Jun versus Mongolia. That sounds like a sick-ass book to read. I would definitely read these. I'm very interested in reading these. Why are they considered not canon? We don't know. We're not there yet. And because the series isn't finished, and I assume they're going to do more with Assassin's Creed, we can only, like, my timeline's clearly very flexible. 1, because it's index cards. 2, because it's prone to change. It's bound to change. Up next, we have our first comic. This is actually a series. So this is issues 6 to 10 of Assassin's Creed Volume 2, The Setting Sun. And this is Charlotte in the Inca Empire in Peru. Who's Charlotte, I hear you ask? Good question. Good question. So this Assassin's Creed Volume 1 also follows Charlotte, I'm pretty sure. What is the difference between Assassin's Creed Volume 1 and Assassin's Creed 1? I don't know. I don't know. I do not have the information for you, and I'm so sorry I do not have that information for you. Looking up anything on these comics was like pulling teeth. There is nothing. However, if I remember correctly, this is Charlotte de la Cruz. I have a lot of opinions on the name de la Cruz, as all I can think about is the movie Coco. So now that we're all there, as far as I'm concerned, she has a guitar. Until I'm proven otherwise, Charlotte de la Cruz can play the guitar. Until I'm proven otherwise, that is my headcanon. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Next one is in 1574's Assassin's Creed Shadows. That is our big one that's in Japan. There is 2 characters. There's a random girl and a samurai turned Ronin. I'm very interested in seeing the story of that, because going from a samurai to Ronin is seen as very dishonorable, and I wonder how they're going to justify that and be faithful to the culture. I have not played Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm very excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I haven't played it. I'm so excited. I am upset because I'm pretty sure I am upset because I heard that there are no out of animus sections. And for that I say, why not? You have so many loose ends for your out of animus sections that could all be fixed up together if you did it. You could do it. But hey, you might have forgotten what you had. You have so much content. You've always had a huge team. Maybe you don't remember what you wrote. That's okay. I'm going to help you remember. But I think, this is my controversial opinion, bring the out of animus sections back. Bring them back. I want more story, more puzzles. I want it all. I don't care if the game is big. Alright, I played LA Noire. That shit's 3 discs. Alright? I don't care. That's what I want. Fuck an open world. If you gotta put me on a linear track for the out of animus sections, that's fine. Just give me something. You had Desmond Miles in a 1-bedroom apartment. It wasn't even an apartment, it was a jail cell. You had him in a jail cell and still delivered more story. By the way, Desmond Miles is the operator in the Animus within the first 5 Assassin's Creed games. That is Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and Assassin's Creed 3. So those are the games in which he is the operator. That's all. Yeah, and I have In the Time of Oda Nobunaga. That's for me because I know that time period. That's for my note, so it's like, oh, I know when that is. I know they killed him. I don't think they killed him in this arc. I think this is an alternate reality where he was not murked. We'll have to see. Oh, that does it. That is all we have for the 1500s. And I'm hanging on by a shred. Okay, so this is part 5. Yeah, part 5, the 1600s. This is really going to be short. There's only 2 index cards, and the reason I have these 2 index cards pulled to the side is because I didn't want to throw them in after we kind of finished off with shadows in that segment, and the 1700s is huge. So we're just going to go ahead in here. The first one we have is in 1609, The Witches of the Moor, which is a novel. It's from the Fragment trilogy. It's the 3rd book in the Fragment trilogy, and it's around the. It's in France with the Laborde witch hunt. Sorry to all French people, I can't read. The only issue I have found so far is that this book is only written in French. So unless I can find a translation or learn French, this one's probably going to be put off for a little while. Learning French will probably be easier than finding a translator. We're just going to have to live and learn. We'll figure it out when we get there. That's not a now problem, that's a later problem. Up next in 1692. Oh my goodness. In 1692, Assassin's Creed Volume 1, Trial by Fire. This is issues 1 to 5, following Charlotte de la Cruz, our beautiful guitar player, versus the Salem witch trials. She was too musical. Actually, in this one, I think it's Charlotte, and then she goes to like her ancestor, whose name is Thomas. Still horrible. Playing a guitar too magically. I don't know anything else about these comics, and I'm hanging on by a shred. So this very short section is part 5. Thank you. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Well, I'm already digging. Okay, with this next section, it's 1700s. Okay, we have a lot going on in this one. I'm going to need you to keep up. All right, you guys have been doing really well so far. I'm very proud of you. It's about to get crazy. We're going to start with 1711, the Assassin's Creed Black Flag novel. Okay, this novel it's Edward Kenway's journal of his life up to his return to England in 1723. Yeah, that's all I have. I thought I had more. I don't. So that covers the overarching story of Edward Kenway. Moving into Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the game, 1715, it's Edward Kenway, his entire arc, Pirates versus Templars. I have not beaten Black Flag. I have played it. In Black Flag, I think it's the first game where you are an unnamed Abstergo employee. There's a hair. Hold on. Sorry, there was a hair that was touching my arm, and it freaked me out. No. So in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, it's the first game where you play as an unnamed Abstergo employee. So there are some out of Animus sections. So this is like your first loose end that you have here. It's one of them for sure. Where you can do more with this unnamed employee. Like, I don't know, give him a name. There's a hair still. Sorry, I don't like it when I'm wearing a shirt and then there's a hair that clings to my shirt that then touches me. And I know I pulled this shirt out of the dryer this morning. You can't tell, it's the middle of the night right now. And this aggravates me because it's a blonde hair. I'm no longer blonde as of a few days ago. I was blonde, it's my hair. But still, how dare you? What was I saying? Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the game is about pirates versus Templars. I don't know what else to say. I do know that it got remastered, and I do know that in the remaster they took out all of the out of Animus portions. This is my hill that I'm dying on. This is my Roman Empire. I'm dying on this hill. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Well, I'm already digging. I'm building my mountain as we speak. This is where I'm building it, right here on the outer Animus sections. Bring them back. I want them. I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself. And for me, I want them back. Bring my unnamed Abstergo employee. Give them an arc where you're an overlooked Abstergo employee. Maybe somebody is trying to get you to sell information. Corporate espionage. That could be a cool out of Animus section. There you go. Here's some ideas. We're floating them around. Corporate espionage. Okay? After that, we're getting into Assassin's Creed Forsaken, 1735. This is the story of Hytham Kenway, Edward Kenway's son, and Connor Kenway's father, from childhood to his death in 1781. This story is written as Hytham's journal, this is written as Hytham's journal, where he wrote it knowing he was going to give it to his son, and Connor is currently reading the journal. That, from my understanding, that's how it's written. I had to think about whether or not Edward's was written the same way. I believe not. I don't think Edward meant for his father or his son to read his journal. Maybe Hytham did, and then seeing that, he's like, I'm going to do the same thing for my son. This is kind of like the overarching timeline from 1735 to 1781 for these next few things. Next, we have Rogue. I have played Rogue. I have not finished Rogue. Assassin's Creed Rogue takes place in 1752. It's Rogue the game, Shay Patrick Cormac, and his assassin, a Templar. It is the first game where they had you play as a Templar. People usually don't want to play as the bad guys. I remember what I remember of the game is the first mission where you do end up turning against the Templars is watching. I think Shay went to the port of Prince in Haiti and watched it get like decimated by an earthquake. It was actually very interesting visuals and was horrifying just being there as a concept. Like there's the earthquake and the. I'm trying to remember all of the like. It was very beautifully drawn, and like it was beautiful to watch in the way that you watch any natural disaster, in which that it was horrifying to your core, but nature is beautiful, you know. And in that moment, I was like, ooh, I kind of see why he switched sides. Also, I think Achilles is a bit of an asshole. I do. Achilles was Shay's mentor, and he was the mentor of my beloved for Assassin's Creed 3, Connor Kenway. If you don't know, Connor's real name is Radu Hanjidan, and he is a Native American. And when Achilles took him in to mentor him, he gave him his dead son's name. He said, "Oh, you want to be dead, boy? Here's a dead boy already. Connor, Connor. Perfect." Horrifying. Horrifying. For y'all, you couldn't just, I don't know, call him Connie, something from his actual name. You just had to give him your son's name. That's never sit right with me. Also, love Assassin's Creed 3. One of my favorites. You get to find Bigfoot in Assassin's Creed 3. That's fun. I also just love Connor. He is my favorite. My beloved. I have it around here somewhere. I have the Assassin's Creed 3 jacket. And when I go, and I think I got this when I was 13, this is what I asked for Christmas. It's the only thing I asked for, and my mom got it for me. It's the only thing I asked for that year, and she got it for me. And I wore it every day. Yeah. When I go to do the Assassin's Creed 3 video, I'm going to find that jacket. I'm pretty sure it's in. I don't know if you can see my moving boxes. If you can, ignore them. But it's somewhere in those moving boxes. I have it here. It exists. And the reason this says 1754 is because at the beginning of Assassin's Creed 3, Connor was just a little baby. He's just a baby. Going into 1765, that's 5, is Assassin's Creed Liberation, which follows Aveline de Grand Prix, apologies, and it's in-universe Abstergo propaganda in Louisiana. I didn't know it was in-universe Abstergo propaganda. I've not played Assassin's Creed Liberation. I will say I have completed and 100%ed Assassin's Creed 3 before we move on. But for Assassin's Creed Liberation, I've not played it, and I did not know that it was in-universe Abstergo propaganda. So I am very interested to see what that entire thing is like. I'm very interested. So 1781 is Assassin's Creed Unity, the novel. And Assassin's Creed Unity, the novel, it is Elise's journal that Arno reads. So the same way in which Hytham Kenway's journal was written for the purpose, or it was written in a way where it's like, oh, this is Hytham's journal, but you know Connor's reading it. Elise's journal is written in a way that you know it's Elise's journal, but you also know that Arno's reading it. And that brings us right into, also in 1789, Assassin's Creed Unity the game, which is Arnaud Dorian and the French Revolution. Are these all written like children's titles? Yes. It's the best I got for you. So, Assassin's Creed Unity is Arnaud Dorian versus the Arnaud Dorian and the French Revolution. These are very Magic Treehouse coded, and I do apologize, kind of. I'm not that sorry about it. I know how I'm coming across, but this wraps up part 6 of the 1700s. What is he doing? I don't know. Do you? No? Me neither. Okay, we are moving right into part 7, the 1800s. The 1800s is another section that's huge, and so had to be its own section. Starting with 1805, Assassin's Creed Templars The Cross of War comic. So this is Templar comics that follow Johanni Otzoberg. You see my horrible handwriting. You can see it. This is all the information I had, other than this is volume, or I think this is just book 2. Or issue 2. I don't think that this is volume 2. I have no idea. I could not tell you. And that's all the information I have on the Assassin's Creed Templar comics. A lot of the entries were written in a way to not be have spoilers, and that was very much a huge deterrent for me in my researching capabilities. And therefore, this is what we have. Again, I do plan on reading, watching, playing everything, so eventually we will get to it and we'll have more information. Up next, in 1839, is the next comic, Assassin's Creed Brahman, which follows Arbaz Mir, who we've not talked about yet. He's the main assassin in Assassin's Creed Chronicles India. This whole thing is, the whole comic is he walks around, he buys a guy, takes this dude with him, and they're like, we have to find this diamond that only works if gods or women hold it. Oh wait, my name's Arbaz Mir, and I'm a dude, and I just bought you, and you're a dude. I'm being arrested. And so, by the way, I need you to know, the guy that he bought is mute, cannot speak. So he takes this diamond, and he finds a princess. I've not read this comic. This is what I got from the synopsis. This one had one. And he gave it to a princess. How? I don't know. How did you get to the princess? I don't know. And why can only women and gods work the diamond? I don't know. This is one I want to read, because what do you mean? That's the plot synopsis that you have for me. That makes me more interested in reading the comic than there being nothing. This just, you can give me nothing. This gave me questions and confusion. How? Yeah, my notes are, it's like, buys a guy and gives him a diamond that only gods and women can use, so this mute boy goes and hunts down a princess. That's my notes. And this takes place before 1841, which is Assassin's Creed India, the game, or Assassin's Creed Chronicle India, the game, which is Arbaz Mir versus the East India Company. That's really all I have. I do own the game. I have not played it or beaten it. I bought the Chronicles pack when it came out. We are now going into our next novel. Oh goodness, I'm actually going to have to hold on to this one and read it out. I can't put the big magnet on it. So 1851 to 1862, this is the duology. This is book 1, The Magnus Conspiracy, and it follows Pierrette Arnaud, who's a French acrobat turned accidental assassin. This is book 1 of the Engine of History's duology. So he's a French acrobat turned accidental assassin. But that's all I have. I'm missing one. No, I'm not. I'm not missing one. Okay. Sorry. 1862. Assassin's Creed Underworld's next novel follows Jayadip Mir, or aka Henry Green, the son of Arbaz Mir. And this is his story of what Henry Green was what Jayadip Mir was doing before he adopted the pseudonym Henry Green, and kind of how he was working the underground before Signet came around. Does that make sense? We're here. up next is 1863, Last Descendants novel, Book 1, which is the teen Owen Myers tries to prove his father is innocent, and this takes place during the New York City draft riots of 1863. I can't imagine what this story. This is Templars versus or teens versus Templars. I have no idea what's going on in this trilogy, and I have so many questions that I really just want to read it. I just want to read it. I need to know. After that, in 1868, is Assassin's Creed Syndicate the game. So this is Jacob and Evie Fry versus the Industrial Revolution. I have played a little bit of Syndicate, probably about as much as I played of Rogue. Not a lot. I don't think I mentioned it earlier. I have played Unity, played a lot of Unity. I have not finished Unity. It's a big ass bug. Sorry, I have glass doors. We're in my kitchen. I don't know if you can tell. And I have glass back doors, and I can just see a big bug crawling up the window. Anyway, yeah, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I've not played a whole lot of. So all I really have for you is it's Jacob and Evie Fry versus the Industrial Revolution. Actually, I'm holding on to this one. So this is 1868 to 1869, Blade of Azu. It's a novel. It's book 1 in the Fragment series, or trilogy. And this is a focus on siblings Ibuka and Etsuko Shiba in the Boshin Civil War. That's all I have for you. Okay, this is the card I thought I was missing, but it doesn't take place until 1869 to 1889. So, just after this one, this is Book 2 of the Engine of History, the Resurrection Plot, which is Pierrette versus Templars in Europe and Africa. The French acrobat turned accidental assassin has now moved into Europe and Africa. Those are 2 different continents. What is he doing? I don't know. Do you? No? Me neither. Glad we're on the same page. I definitely want to read this. These are comics? No, this is novels. I want to read these novels. There are definitely some of the comics in here that I definitely want to read, and there's no possible explanation for what I have imagined. I want to read the Charlotte de la Cruz volumes. I need to read the Arbaz Mir volume that we saw earlier. All of it. Okay. So this one kind of happens at the end of this one. It's 1888, Assassin's Creed The Fall. It's a comic. So it's Nikolai's descendant, Nikolai being the main assassins from Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia. His descendant, Daniel Cross, and it happens before the events of Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia. So it's kind of like the prequel to Assassin's Creed Chronicle Russia. And that is all we have for part 7. If I had to make a guesstimation. Alright, we are in our final part. We're in part 8, which is going to be the 1900s to present. And present is a very loose term, and we'll get to that. The final part already. We're going to start with 1918, Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia, the game. You play as Nikolai Orlev, and you're trying to rescue a Russian princess. That's all I got for you. Pretty short, sweet, to the point. This is Assassin's Creed Chronicles, so it is a 2D side-scroller. And I actually have played this. I don't know if you heard that loud thud, but that was that big bug I was talking about earlier running into the window. Anyway, I have played this one. He has a shotgun. That's what really stuck out to me about this game, is that he had a shotgun. So, assassin with a shotgun, as they should. So this next one is a comic. So 1918 to 1919, Assassin's Creed The Chain, which is a comic, which is where Nikolai... Okay. In this comic, this is one of those ones that gives me too much information but also nothing at all. In this comic, allegedly, apparently, Nikolai is married and has 2 kids. So after the events of Assassin's Creed Chronicle Russia, where you're trying to rescue a princess and I guess you end up betraying somebody, I don't know. I haven't played it. He decides that we just gotta get out of here. So he takes his wife, his son, and his daughter, and they immigrate to the United States. However, something happens and his wife and daughter get deported back to Russia. So he's just living there with his son, whose name is. I don't have his son's name. I don't have his son's name. Up in the air. Anyway, assassins come to his place of residence in the United States to try and get back at him, and he ends up getting shot in both of his legs. Let me run that back. So after his wife and daughter get deported, he starts training his son to be an assassin, even though he technically betrayed the assassins and is now being hunted. So the assassins show up to come and get his ass. He ends up shot in both of his legs. In order to kill the assassin who is attacking his father, young boy shoots his father dead to shoot through his dad, who's got 2 broken legs, to kill the assassin. And the story then follows his son. That has to be like the intro. I have no idea what this comic is about. That's an insane story opener. That's all I have. That's all they gave me. Which sounds like a lot. But I still don't know what's happening. And that's concerning. And now I have to read that because what do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, our next one is Assassin's Creed Templars. The first one, Black Cross comic. It follows Darius Gift, and he's in Shanghai with 3 question marks. What is he doing in Shanghai? I don't know. Which Shanghai? I assume the one in China. If I had to make a guesstimation, I'm assuming the one in China. That is my best offer. Given the fact it's happening in 1927, they could be referring to getting Shanghaied. Could be, but I'm going to guesstimate that they probably mean Shanghai, China. And this is all I have. This is all the information I have for you. And I am sorry. This is what I have. This next one, however, I'm very interested in. The 2-parter, 1943 Assassin's Creed Conspiracies. It's a comic book taking place during World War II in the atomic bomb race following a British assassin. That is a group of information that you've handed to me where you've given me like little flavor indicators, but nothing of substance. I need to read this, because what do you mean it's the atomic bomb race during World War II following a British assassin? What do you mean? I don't know. I don't know a lot about my atomic bomb history. I also did not watch Oppenheimer. What happened? What's going on? What did the British do? Is this taking place in England, or is he just happens to be British? I don't know. I don't even know if it's a dude. I'm just as confused as you are. This is all the information they had. They just said a British assassin. Red flag. What do you mean? I don't know. Now, this next one happened in 2012, and the reason I'm saying it happens in 2012 is because I said so. Now, do you remember how we paused our conversation earlier talking about things that are not canon compliant? And I had you play that conversation again? Well, we're rewind to that, back up, fast forward. We're here, play. We're bringing that back in the conversation. So, Assassin's Creed Desmond, Assassin's Creed 1 Desmond, follows. Okay, well, it's generally seen as canon non-compliant because it's an alternate retelling of Desmond story. It's an alternate retelling of Desmond Miles' story. However, given the fact that we have other examples of books not being seen as canon non-compliant, even though they're alternate retellings of a story, I'm hesitant to mark it as canon non-compliant until I get in there for myself and see for myself. because I don't think that the general audience is going to see it as canon non-compliant if the general audience doesn't know what it is. So it's an alternate retelling of Ow. It's an alternate retelling of Desmond Miles' story. The reason this is in 2012 and not in anything else, because you'll see it follows his story of Aquilus, the Roman, from the beginning, Altair, you remember him, and Ezio, that guy. However, the majority of the story takes place in the present day, following his storyline, or following Desmond's storyline as he ventures into it. And since the majority of the story allegedly takes place during 2012, that's why it's marked 2012. The reason I say allegedly is I have no idea. It's a comic. That comic book can have anything in it, and I wouldn't know because there's nothing on it. Now, this one is going to say present, but if I had to give it a year, I would say it most likely 2022 as when the book was released. This is a escape room puzzle book. It's a novel. Doesn't that sound fun? And it's present day museum employee named Joey who knighted the museum some Templars, to my understanding. To my understanding, that's what he does. He knighted the museum some Templars. And I've never done an escape room puzzle book. I have no idea how that's going to be set up. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I could not tell you anything about this. But this is what I have. That's all I have. Alright, everyone. That's all I really had for my overarching timeline, kind of all of the content available for the Assassin's Creed universe. Obviously, as more things come out, other things will happen. As things come out, the timeline will have to be adjusted. This is the best I had, best I have to offer. Just as like some kind of closing remarks, I think I've said it probably multiple times throughout this. I think they should bring back the Out of Animus sections. I think if we're talking about remastering games, the next game they need to remaster is the original Assassin's Creed. They're not going to. But if I had to say why they should, it's because it's the only Assassin's Creed game that does not have subtitles, as it was made in 2007. Every game after it had subtitles. Assassin's Creed the original does not. Kind of it for my closing remarks. My next video I'm going to try and do will be on Assassin's Creed Odyssey the novel, because I have the novel. I bought it. It was on sale. I bought it on sale for like $6 or $7. It's originally like $9.99 according to the back of the book. So my next video, hopefully in theory, will be on the Assassin's Creed Odyssey novel following Cassandra. And the way I plan on doing that is just being like, this is the book, here's everything in it. Like just kind of a deep dive into the book itself without, I don't know, I'll probably pull some quotes out of it, but that's what we have next. If you have any questions, comments, or if you have any ideas of, like, I don't know, which one you think I should do after Odyssey, if you want to do a comic book next, or if you think I should deep dive into the Descendants trilogy +1, just let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for staying. Bye-bye.